Hey everybody, and welcome to another video. Today, as you can see from the title, we are doing a what I eat in a day. I have not done one of these on my channel before, but I've been watching a gal recently who I've really enjoyed watching her what I eat in a week videos, so I figured I would do what I eat in a day because I've never done one, and so it was kind of a little bit of a testing ground to be able to do that. So Amy wants to say hi too. Say hi! So that's what we're going to do today. Enjoy. So in this video, I ended up starting out with lunch, although typically I do have breakfast, but the morning got away from me. Things were a little crazy, even though all we did was stay home. But anyway, lunch was my first meal, and I ended up cutting up some tofu that I had thawed from my freezer, which is why it looks a little bit weird. But it was delicious. It was obviously still good. I just had thawed it from my fridge, and I was thinking I had a leftover baked potato in the fridge that my kids weren't going to eat, that I figured I would make some barbecue tofu and put that over the potatoes and then make like a vegetable kind of stir fry type thing. So here I cut up the tofu and I added the barbecue sauce that I wanted. I like a lot of sauce on my food, and so I added barbecue sauce to that, set that aside. I cut up all the vegetables. This is just some leftover stuff I had in my fridge. This is actually the bottom half of a broccoli that I had eaten at another meal earlier in the week, and I had heard that you can eat the inside of it, which I have done before, and so I didn't want to throw it away. I actually wanted to use it because you still get quite a bit of broccoli with it. So I just shaved off all the outside excess, this part that ends up being a bit tougher, and then I cut it up into just smaller chunks, so I was able to eat it easier, more like bite-sized pieces. And then I also had a yellow pepper that was looking a little scary, so it was still good. So I cut it up and I threw that in there. The other half I had used for something else. And then I had part of a zucchini. I was going to cut up the whole thing, but then I realized that was probably going to be too much vegetables. And then after the zucchini, as you can see, I got some mushroom here. My mushrooms were definitely needing to be eaten up, so I cut off the not so good parts of those and chopped up the rest. I figured the mushrooms would be good in kind of what I was thinking about, this kind of like stir-fry mix, sort of. Then after I got done with the mushrooms, I had a little bit of purple cabbage that I was trying to use up, so I did that. Once I had all the vegetables and everything cut up, I put everything on the stove. I put the barbecue tofu in one pan, and then in the container that you see there on the stove, I'm going to put it on in just a minute here, is the potatoes. I had made baked potatoes the other day for my kids, and they weren't going to eat it, so I decided I was going to eat their leftovers since I felt like having potatoes, and this meal kind of came to me. So I did not have this meal planned out prior to this, but I'm trying to eat the leftovers in my fridge. If I was just making this meal for myself, I probably would not actually put the cheese or sour cream on it, although I do like baked potatoes from time to time. But I was feeling like potatoes, and that sounded good, so I decided to do that. In this other pan over here, I started with my sauce mix for my like stir-fry vegetables. I put a little bit of garlic in there, about 1.5 tablespoons of tahini, because that's always good in there. And then I put the vegetables in that I wanted to be a little softer or wanted to kind of saute a little bit more. I don't like to put my peppers in till kind of the last minute because peppers are actually very high in vitamin C, but the more you heat them up, like any other fruit or vegetable, the less nutritional value you have in them. So I'd like to put those in like last minute. I added a little bit of water and then decided that wasn't quite enough water and added a little bit too much, but it is what it is. It still ended up tasting delicious once I was done. So the tofu I was really just warming up like I was warming up the potatoes and cheese. I was kind of waiting for that. As I was waiting for my mixture of vegetables, I added some spices, some garlic or some onion powder, then some garlic powder, which are two that I use very often in my cooking, and then a little bit of nutritional yeast because that's always good to add to it. And then this one is my absolute favorite. This is Mrs. Dash, no salt, garlic, and herb. It is my favorite. I use it in everything. It's delicious with everything. So I had to put some of that in there. I'm also finishing up my coffee from earlier, which you can see there on the stove. Hadn't quite finished that up. I added a little bit of pepper and salt to the potatoes because that was not peppered or salted from the other day when I made them for the kids. I just cooked the vegetables down a little bit till they got soft. Added a little bit of Dijon mustard, a little bit of apple cider vinegar, and a little bit of liquid aminos for a little bit more spices. And then I added in the zucchini and the pepper. Kept mixing everything to make sure it wasn't burning in the pan. The cheese got a little bit melted in the pan, which ended up being even more delicious with everything else. Then at the very end, I ended up adding a couple handfuls of spinach because I know the spinach will wilt down, and it's always nice to get some more greens in if you can, and I had a bunch in there that I do need to eat up. So as I was letting the rest of the spinach wilt down, I started to plate up the food. I did all of the potatoes, about half of the tofu, and then about half of the vegetables. And I ended up eating all the vegetables that I had put on my plate, but I didn't eat all the potatoes, so I ended up having set for leftovers. I'm not really a leftover person typically, but if I have like one extra meal of leftovers, I'm usually okay with that. But typically I like to cook so I have that for that meal, and then the next meal is something different, or the next day is something different. I don't really like to have the same thing 3 or 4 days in a row. I get really tired of it really quickly, so I was glad I only really have one meal for tomorrow or the next day with the vegetables and tofu and potatoes. I ended up having a heck of a time opening this jar of sauerkraut, but I did finally get it open, put a big old scoop on there. You saw a little bit ago, I did add a bit more barbecue sauce on the top of the barbecued tofu. Haven't had sauerkraut in a while, so it was very delicious. This particular brand is probably my favorite. It does have a little bit of sugar in it, but I do like the red cabbage a bit more than I like the white cabbage for sauerkraut. I actually have made my own sauerkraut also, but I had found that at the store. It was just convenient to buy it that way. And then I decided to add a little bit more Dijon mustard to the top of the vegetables and a little bit of Frank's Red Hot sauce. The Frank's Red Hot and the barbecue sauce were like the perfect combination. It was super delicious. All right, so now that I've finished, we're gonna do a taste test. Tofu and potato. Delicious. A little bit of the vegetable combination mixture that I made. The hot sauce I put on there really complements the barbecue sauce, so that's perfect. And then, of course, I put on here a big pile of this purple sauerkraut. I really like the purple sauerkraut over the white sauerkraut, and I haven't been getting quite enough in my diet lately, so I was at the store, and so I figured I'd buy some so I can have some. So good. The flavor combinations of everything is like super delicious. So I didn't really make a whole lot of it from scratch, but very simple, very easy. The potatoes were the kids' leftovers that they weren't going to eat, so typically I probably wouldn't have added sour cream and cheese on it. So if I was making it, I would have just made the potatoes and probably added those to the vegetable mixture that I made, but this combination worked out really well because I was craving potatoes, so that's what we did, trying to use the leftovers we have without wasting. And so I'm going to eat this, and I will see you guys at dinner. So for dinner, I was going to just warm up my lentil quinoa chili that I made the other night, but Mom and Dad decided we were going to go to Blaze Pizza, so I wasn't going to turn that down. Got a veggie pizza, shared some of the cheese breadsticks with the girls and Mom and Dad, and then ended up having one of their little s'mores desserts, which I had not had before. It was very good. Sometimes your plans just change, and that was really cool. So that's it for today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed my what I eat in a day. This wasn't exactly a typical what I eat in a day because I usually actually do have breakfast, but today kind of got away with me a little bit. I have a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old, and things just kind of got crazy this morning, and then I was trying to get my workout in before lunch, and by the time I made coffee, and then I was filming, so there was a little bit of that too, and just got really busy this morning, even though we stayed home all day and didn't do anything. But got really busy, so I didn't actually have breakfast like I kind of normally would. But I will definitely be posting more what I eat in a day videos because this was actually really, really fun. So kind of got inspired. I will link her, the lady I've been watching lately, her what I eat in a week videos. I will post her YouTube channel below, and you guys can take a look too. Hope everyone has a wonderful night or day or evening or afternoon, whatever it might be for you when you're watching this video. And don't forget to like and subscribe if you guys enjoyed this video. And we will see you guys in another video. Thanks. Bye.